Okay, go ahead, start again, Ralph.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining our call. This is Ralph Cervati speaking, and my business partner, Jim Worowski, is on the line with me as well. We are co-owners of S&W Technologies. We are a software company that's been in business since the mid-'80s, and we have 4 products in the space of monitoring people as it relates to keeping them safe in the workplace. Today, we are going to cover our Guardian system, and we're going to focus on safety observations, inspections, and pre-job briefings. Guardian has been a product that we've been promoting for over 10 years now. We just came out with a new release of Guardian 3.0 system that is fully mobile enabled. And we are going to be going through this demonstration that Jim will be providing. And at the end, we will open it up in the chat window for questions that you may have. So we really appreciate you taking the time today, and I will turn this over to Jim Worowski.
Thanks, Ralph. Welcome, everyone. Do I sound okay? I'm not crackling or anything, am I? Ralph, you could probably
tell me.
Great. Okay. Okay, great. Thanks. So welcome, everyone. As Ralph said, what we're going to do is go through an overview of our Guardian 3.0 safety software system. We've had safety observation software for quite a number of years now, and we've got a lot of feedback from our customers as to increasing its capabilities to do more. So we came out with a totally new system, the Guardian 3.0 system, which we're going to overview today. And as Ralph indicated, it allows you to capture not only safety observations, but other kinds of observations, such as inspections, pre-job briefings, and pretty much anything you can think of. So I'm going to go through a few slides here, and then I'll go into the software and show you a variety of its features and functions. And as Ralph said at the end, please raise your hand, and you can enter questions into the question panel on your control panel there. And then we'll respond to all the questions. So one of the most unique features of our Guardian 3.0 system is what we call SmartForm technology that we've used. We're using the latest HTML5 web-enabled technologies that make the system very responsive and flexible, and it makes the forms automatically readjust themselves on whatever platform you're using them on. So you can use it on the desktop. You'll see examples of all of this on the desktop, on tablets, whether they're iOS or Android, and smartphones, iOS and Android smartphones, or any smartphone that has a browser can use it if you have other brands of smartphones. So it's very flexible. You can create form once and you can use it everywhere, and the elements of the form automatically rearrange themselves to fit onto the form. Now, in terms of forms, as I mentioned, you can create a variety of different kinds of forms, and you can create the forms yourself. We can train you how to do that, or we can help you to do it. But the system can hold any number of forms that can contain pretty much any variety of data, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. As we mentioned, you can use them for traditional safety observation forms, near misses, safety catches, audits, inspections, assessments, and the like. So there's really no limit to what you can do with this system. As you're building the forms, you can review them with your team and make sure that you get them the way you want them, and then you publish them, and then they're available for the users to work with. You can have any number of forms that you want in the system. All the data for each customer is private to that customer. We don't share any data between customers. The system is all hosted at Amazon Web Services in the cloud, so it is basically 100% reliability and uptime because of their robust architecture. The system also includes an action item tracking capability if you don't have one, and that gives you 3 levels of action items: general action items that aren't associated with any particular observation, an observation level action item, which is just basically associated with a particular observation, and point level action items, which are action items associated to individual items on the form, so we call points. And finally, we have a very robust reporting system, which allows you to create any kind of a dashboard that you'd like, or multiple dashboards, do all kinds of ad hoc reporting, scheduling the reports, and so on. So it's very, very robust, and we're going to show you examples of it today. So the next slide I'm going to go to expands a little bit on the kinds of things that you can put on the form to capture the information. And we want to emphasize the fact that we can accommodate your forms. When you subscribe to our system, you're not required to use forms that we provide you. So basically our system, we build your forms in our system. So it's very flexible. And the first thing that we have on the list here are hierarchies. In the hierarchy, many customers have different kinds of hierarchies. Typically, they'll have an organizational hierarchy, such as division, department, work group, that they want to annotate or capture the level within that hierarchy when they're doing the particular observation. They also might have a geographical hierarchy, like many companies have multiple locations around the country, for example, and they might have a site and then an area on the site and a building and an elevation and a room, or whatever granularity they want. So you can have as many different hierarchies as you'd like, and each hierarchy can have any number of levels, and the entries in each level can be related to one another between levels, however you need to organize it. So it's totally flexible, and I'll show you a short example of that hierarchy in a few moments. Next, we have text fields and drop-down lists. Of course, you can put any number of text fields you want on the form. You'll see, and you can have drop-down lists. We encourage drop-down lists because it makes it very easy for the users to select choices when they're doing the observation. And you can have any number of those that you'd like, single or multi-select. Then we have radio button groups, checkbox groups, rating fields like you see on TripAdvisor, and multi-state fields, yes, no, not applicable, or safe at risk, and needs improvement or something. And those are all configurable. All these controls are totally configurable in terms of the text and contents, behaviors, colors, and that sort of thing. We have a decision tree capability, which is basically a series of questions that, depending upon the way you answer the questions, subsequent questions are displayed. So you can think of it like a tree where you go out on a particular branch and you walk down the branch and you go down and you go to the right and you make choices and you end up at a certain point. So those are particularly useful for audits and inspections. We have signature fields, much like you've seen at lots of places now have tablets at their cash registers and you sign with your finger. And you can put any number of those that you'd like on a form and capture the signature of the people that you're working with. You can also have hyperlinks on the form, which are very nice to be able to link to, for example, OSHA standards. So you can have a hyperlink for an OSHA standard. The user clicks on it and it opens up a new browser tab and displays the web page for that particular standard. And the hyperlinks can link to anything. You can have it show a picture, play a video, open a document, go to a web page, doesn't really matter. Anything that you can think of, you can put in the hyperlink. There's file upload links, so you can put links on the page, as many as you'd like. There's some that automatically are available, and it allows the users to upload pictures or documents right to the observation. And then lastly, you can have as many other date fields as you like. So there's a lot of different kinds of elements that you can put on the form to capture the information you need. So typically what we do is we work with you. If you already have forms that you've been using on paper or Excel or some other system, we look at the forms and we might make some suggestions on how to most effectively put it in our system so that it's easy for the users and very efficient. So next, I'm going to show you an example of a form with some of the elements on the form so you can see what I've been talking about. So on this particular form, we have a section we've labeled general information here, and we have a date field, and then we have some drop downs, and this is actually part of a hierarchy. So these three drop downs are related to one another, and if you make a choice in the first one, like you see here, behavior-based safety observation, then it filters the next drop down to certain choices, and then if you pick a choice in the second one, it'll filter the choices in the third drop down to be just the ones that are relevant for that particular choice on the second one. And again, you can have as many different levels as you'd like, and you can even have multiples of these in a section like this. So you put anything you want up here, basically. Then down the body of the form, you can see in this particular example, we have it laid out a certain way where we have the name of the item that you're observing, changing position. And then we have a little toggle button here where you just pick safer at risk, and makes it very easy for the user to just click safer at risk. But you could have a numeric field where they increment the number of safes or at risks that they find, and I'll show you some other examples as well. Now you can also program these so that, for example, if you click the at risk here, it would automatically pop up a box where the user can enter more information. So you may want to use our capability here of contributors or actions. These are basically, think of them as contributing factors that were identified during your discussion with the person regarding the at-risk behavior. So let's say this list also included such things as lack of knowledge, lack of training, personal choice, those kinds of things. So it helps you to easily document as a root cause of the particular at-risk that you observed. And that's all totally customizable. So you can have as many different checkboxes in these sections as you'd like, and every one of your points on your form could have a different collection of the checkboxes, or you could have a standard set of checkboxes that is available for every one of the items on your form. So it's totally customizable. Then you have fields for notes and follow-up notes. And here you've got an upload button where you could upload pictures or documents right to that particular item. Now, if you want to create an action item, there's, as I mentioned, several places to do that. One is there's an action button up here at the top of the form, and also you can enable point level action items on any of the points or all the points, or none of the points, totally up to you. And in the next screen, you'll see here's an example of the action item form that you would fill out. So basically, it's pretty simple. You fill out who the assignee is, the action item's assigned to. That could be either a Guardian user or a non-Guardian user, and you just put in their email address. And then you may want to send a copy of this action item to somebody else, so you can enter one or more email addresses, either Guardian or non-Guardians, that you want to have copies of the notifications sent to. And the system will automatically generate an email and send it to all these folks containing the content of this action item. And the next field is the content of the action item. So you have a text field here where you can write out the issue that needs to be addressed by the assignee. And then we also have some additional drop-down fields here that you can configure. Some people like to categorize their action items. So you can set up a list of different categories like low, medium, high, critical, that kind of thing. And then you assign a due date. And then once you click the Save button, the system automatically generates an email, sends it to the people that are listed at the top, and then it tracks the completion of the email, of the action item via the date closed here. And if the due date arrives and the date close has not been filled in, the system will then start sending the assignee reminders that their action item is overdue. And once they go into the system and close out their action item, then the reminders will stop being sent. And when they receive the email has a link in it. And if they click the link, it'll take them right to the Guardian system. They just log in, and then the action item will open right up, and they can fill it out and click the save in there, and they can complete their action item. So very easy to use. Now, the form that I've been showing in the background is on the desktop. If I take that same form and I open it in my smartphone, then the form will look like this. So the application automatically rearranges the form to fit the smartphone. Now, we also have dedicated apps for both iOS and Android. The apps look exactly the same. The forms are rendered exactly the same in the apps, the dedicated apps, as they are in the browser application that you might be displaying in the browser on your device. So you can use either way. The advantage of the app is that it gives you offline recording capabilities. So for example, we have a number of customers, electric utility customers, that have crews out in trucks all day long. And they're all over the countryside. And many times they get into areas where there isn't any cell coverage. And there's a pole there, and they're working on it, and they need to do a safety observation. So they can use the app. They can record the safety observation using the app. And then when they come back to an area where there's connectivity, either Wi-Fi or cellular, the app will automatically send the data back to the server. So it's very easy for them to work with it that way. And as you can see, these 4 screenshots here, this login screen here, and then we've got the top part of the information. Here's that hierarchy that I talked about, and then you just swipe with your finger, and eventually then you get to the points on the checklist. And there you see the change of position and safe and at risk and a detail button and so on. So it's very easy to just scroll right down and fill out the points that you need to on your form. Now this form is just another form. It has more information on it. And the reason I'm showing you several different kinds of forms is to help you understand the flexibility of our system, that we can do a lot of different things that create forms that look in various configurations to best meet the needs of your forms. So here you can see this form looks pretty straightforward at the top, just has some drop downs. But then when I go to the next page, you'll see that it gets more detailed. So there's a lot more drop downs, and here you see a collection of check boxes here that they can document the weather conditions and that sort of thing. So lots of different flexibility there. So what I'd like to do now is I'm going to switch over to a few more screenshots of a few other forms that I wanted to show you. And go here. So let me just click here. Now, this is a form that, again, has kind of similar fields at the top, but then as we go down here, we've got some collection of checkboxes, and then down here at the bottom, you can see we've got signature fields that I talked about. So I wanted to show that one. And then this form is also a safety observation form, and you'll see again it has the top part where we've got our hierarchy there. You got district and customer, line of business, and so on and so forth. And then what they did was they have a little simpler layout of their points on the form. So you see what they did was they had a work area environment, and they've got all their safes and at risks are pretty simple and pretty short. So they just have them kind of lined right up like this. And then if you show this on your smartphone, they'll just automatically wrap around. So it'll be housekeeping, and then underneath that would be the working surfaces, and then lighting and eyes on path and so on. So very straightforward. So that's how those work. Now let's take a look at the system live here. So I'm going to switch over here, and I'm going to show you a dashboard. And I mentioned in the early slides that our reporting system has dashboarding and ad hoc reporting capabilities and so on. So here's a dashboard for a particular customer that has a lot of interactivity. So you can see here when they log in, there's these 4 different sections. And the 4 different sections all have interactive charting components. So you can see how as I'm moving the cursor around, it gives me tooltip on each of the bars on the bar chart here. And if I come down on the legend here, it'll highlight the section of the bars that I happen to be hovering over. And if I switch to group observations, you can see how I can switch it back and forth. And then for this particular dashboard, now the thing about dashboards is as soon as I log in, the dashboard will go get the most current data and display it for me. So the dashboard's like always live. As soon as you log into them, they're live. And then in this particular case, we have some filtering that you can do. So you can filter the date range, and then you can filter on the hierarchy. So here they have location hierarchy, airport code, and then location within the airport. So they could change these and filter to a particular airport and then find out the statistics on that particular airport. And this one here is a similar chart, you can see. And what they've done is on their form, as I'll show you in a little bit, they have broken their individual points into point categories such as chemical use, environment and work area, and fall protection. And so here they're looking at tallying the safes and at risks for each of those categories of safety. And then again, if I hover over the legend, you can see how it responds there. Now down at the bottom, we have a participation report. And this particular company, they have a hierarchy. And what we've done is we've displayed the VPs on this front page. And then when you click the VP's name, it will drill through to, excuse me, the people for that VP. So here's all of Scott Ogden's people, and you can see they're all listed here. And then the number of observations completed tells you whether they've completed their number of observations for the month. We also have they have an observation target of 4 per month. So that's an example of a drill through. And you may have noticed that on these little charts here, there's an export button, so you can click the export and it'll export the data to an Excel file for you. And if you run the regular reports and you schedule them to run, you can have them delivered via email, pardon me, either in Excel or PDF formats. So it's very flexible there. So let's take a look at another dashboard. There's some different examples of types of charts and things that you can use on your dashboard. So this particular dashboard has to have 3 elements to it. There's a line graph here showing the dates that the different forms, number of forms submitted on each day. Then we have a little pie chart over here, which is interactive, showing how many, what percentage of all the forms were submitted by each person. And then down here you have a little bar chart showing, or column chart showing how many forms each person submitted. Now, the last thing I'm going to show you on the reporting system is what it looks like to edit this particular pie chart. So I've got that here. So here's the editor for that pie chart. This is the very exact same pie chart that I was just showing you. You can see it's all interactive here. And the features that we have here are lots of flexibility for configuring the way the pie chart is rendered. You can change the color scheme and how you want the legend appear and titles and lots of other things you can see. These are customization components that you can work with to adjust how you'd like the chart to look. And then when you make those changes and you save them, it publishes them back out to the system so that people would automatically see the changes that you made. So it's very flexible, and there's a lot of power over here for creating filters, and you can even put in JavaScript if you know how to do that. So it's really flexible. Then at the top, you see there's little thumbnails of different kinds of charts. These are all the different types of chart elements that you can work with to create the different kinds of dashboards that you need. So there's pretty much everything you can think of here, including a geomap. Now, I talked earlier about using the mobile app out in the field with some of our utility companies. When you're using the mobile app or you're using the web app through the browser on your phone, when you save the observation, the app will capture the GPS coordinates, if you have the GPS enabled, capture the GPS coordinates of the phone at that time. So now you've tagged the observation with the location where the observation was performed. So this is very useful for customers that have field operations and they want to have you can then create a geomap chart, which is just like Google Maps, and it'll put the pins on the map and you can zoom in and out, and it'll show you, like if you want to have, when you go to Google and you ask it to find drugstores near me, and it comes up with a map and it's got 5 pins on it and shows you all the locations of the drugstores nearby. It does the same thing. We can do the same thing here with our reporting system. So it's very flexible. You can create tabular reports and cross tabs and pretty much anything you can think of. So just want to leave you that it's a very flexible system. So let me come back over here to the main Guardian application, and there was a dashboard here that we see here, and then there's a series of menu sections where you actually configure the different building blocks that end up making up those forms that I've been showing you. So when you go into the custom control library, there's you can create custom controls. Here, I'll show you a quick example. So let's say we wanted to create a rating control. You just drag and drop it over here. Oops, there we go. And then hazard level, and you can see this little preview is what the hazard level control would look like on your form. And then you can change a lot of the properties of it and number of stars, that sort of thing. So so you basically build up the form in pieces. You create these you customize these individual controls, and then you group the controls into a container we call a point, and then you put the points on the form, and then you have the form. So what I'm going to do here is cancel and go back to observation list and show you what a completed form looks like. So there you go. So let's go here and open up a form. So this is the form that has the various components assembled on it. So in this particular form, here's those safety categories that we talked about, like fall protection, environmental work area, and so on. So you have an option to group your points this way, and then you can create as many of these other sections as you want. And we have one here called general information, where the user fills out basic information about the form that they're, the observation they're performing. And then they come to the fall protection section, and here you see on this particular form, we're using what we call the segment button. So we have a safe, NA, and at risk. And then when you click the at risk, then you can set it so that the little box will pop up that I showed you before, and you can check off whatever's appropriate here in the contributors action section, fill in notes, upload a picture if you need to, click OK and save it. So it's very straightforward. You just work your way down through, and if you need to do an action item, you can click here, and then you can click this button and create an action item. So it's very straightforward. And then you just work your way down the form, and when you're all done, you save it, and basically it immediately goes up into the cloud, into the system. It's immediately available for reporting. So there's nothing else you have to do to save the observation.
Jim, we're closing in on 3 o'clock. We might see if we want to have any questions.
That's a good idea.
Yep.
I was pretty much done. Anybody have any questions?
Yep.
I don't see any hands up at the moment. Nothing's appeared. Let me just kind of do a wrap up. I pretty much finished with the main form there. So in conclusion, we just want to make sure you're clear on the fact that the smart form technology allows the creation of pretty much any type of form that you can think of. And the forms can be dynamic, and sections can appear and disappear and that sort of thing. So it's very flexible. All that data is being captured in a database, so we can do any kind of reporting on it that you want. We have comprehensive action item support. We have signature fields, which can help you eliminate signature paper-based forms for various types of activities. The reporting system is very comprehensive. It allows you to basically structure and configure any kind of report you need, and schedule to be automatically run and delivered as need be via email. You can attach pictures from your phones if you're using phones or tablets, and either it'll ask if you want to capture a new picture now or take one from your photo library. As I mentioned, it'll capture GPS coordinates of the device. The voice-to-text translation capabilities of the phones is also supported. So when you click in a text field and the little keyboard pops up, you can click the microphone, talk into the device, click it again, and it'll transcribe your speech into the text into the field. So it saves a lot of time, so you don't have to type as much. So all of that is included in the system. It's a subscription service, so there's nothing to install. If you want to use the mobile apps, those are available from the appropriate store, whether it's iTunes or the Android Google Play Store. They're free, and then we provide you with the necessary information to connect to your instance on in our system. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Here we'll still be on for a few more minutes, and feel free to send us emails. And if you have any other questions, we appreciate your time today, and hopefully this has been informative for you.
Yes, if anyone would like another demonstration for specifically your organization, please feel to reach out to myself, Ralph Servati, and it's rservati@swtechnologies.com. I'll spell it rservati@swtechnologies.com. You can reach me directly at 585-787-9799, extension 102. All right, there are no questions, so thank you again for your time today. Bye now.
Great, thanks everybody. Bye now.